Hi everybody, welcome back to FTL Fridays. Today we are going to be starting a new ship after our recent victory with the Kraus, which was the Lanius cruiser. We are making our way through the list here. We are going to be taking on the Nesasio. Nesasio is the stealth cruiser, and in my opinion is probably one of the harder ships to play, particularly for new players. Now if you can master this ship, more power to you, but it's definitely one of the ones where I have not beaten the game with it yet, even in various iterations. And I did lose all of my save game data at least a couple of times due to disk reformatting, but I have never actually beaten the game with the stealth cruiser, whether it be the Nesasio or its other variants. So we are going to be taking a look at that today. Now, first things that you need to know about the Nesasio and why it's so difficult is you do not start off with any shields. The main arsenal with this ship here is going to be its dodge factor. That being said, I do recommend that you do pick up a shield layout as soon as you can, just to handle things like asteroid fields or just the occasional laser fire that gets past your stealthiness. So something to keep track of. But in addition to our dodging with the engines, we're going to be using stealth to avoid attacks. So you want to definitely get up your stealth at least to the second tier within the first or second sector. Most of the time you need to kind of play things by ear as far as what weapons and stuff you're dealing with and what other modifications you can make, because if you time things out correctly, your first level of stealth should be perfectly fine. Now as far as our augments, long range scanners is going to be a good a little bit of info for you as far as when you hit the nodes. You'll be able to see if you're walking into a trap or if you need a safe node to hide out in. You can use your scanners to identify such. That being said, you could also go the more offensive route and only go to nodes that actually have ships, so you can maximize your scrap. Although there's going to be some trade-off there. The more ships you attack, the more likely you're going to get hit eventually. And then the titanium system casing, you have a 15% chance to negate hull damage altogether. Or negate system damage, rather, not hull damage. So you can prevent your stuff from getting damaged, but you still take hull damage, which in the grand scheme of things, hull damage is basically where it's at. If you start losing hull damage, that's it for you. Now, obviously systems play a big role as well when you get to some of the tougher ships. If they take out your weapons or something like that early on, it can be pretty much a death sentence. Okay, since I forgot to do this in the past, we're going to rename this the Nesasio1 to mark our first attempt with this ship. Our weapons to start with, nothing real serious. We have a mini beam weapon, which is decent, and we have a dual laser. The only thing good about the dual laser is it charges fast and only requires 1 power, and it still shoots 2 shots. So compare this to some of the other laser weapons. It's technically better, does the same amount of damage as any other basic laser, so it's not a bad deal. And it's definitely better than the single shot laser, so you're sitting pretty good there. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this fired up here. We'll start in our Sector 1. You'll be able to see right from the bat here what our sensors do. Sensors tell us that there's a ship here and there's a ship here. Now what's odd about this is the sensors always say possible. I've never known this to never have or not have a ship there. It says possible, but there's always a ship there. So I don't know why they worded it that way. So now in terms of where do we want to go, we'd like to hit as many nodes as possible, and we want to hit these ships too so that we can collect as much scrap. The downside to this is we have to go down, then we have to go back, and then we have to go up again. So depending on what's at this node, if this node here is another ship, I'll just leave this one out here, because then I can just hit a bunch of these nodes here, maximize my chance of hitting stores and stuff like that. Alright, so let's make sure that you understand how to play this one. So we're starting off with a slaver, which is a good thing because we're going to get rewarded with a 4th crew member right from the start, which is going to be helpful because it'll save us from having to buy one in the future. Alright, so first off, let's equip this stuff so we know what we're doing. The way that you're going to play the Nesasio is you are going to be watching the enemy to see when their weapons fire. Now with beam weapons, that's a little bit more of a a tricky scenario, because with the beam weapons, you can't just stealth right when they fire it because you won't know it's coming. So if you can't see their weapon charge, you pretty much have to watch out for that one. So what I'll end up doing is I'll let them charge for a little bit, and then I'll ultimately stealth, and I will fire my lasers then. But ultimately what you're going to do is use your cloaking not to open the fight like we've seen the mothership do, but use your cloaking as a dodge mechanic. So if I look at this here, level 2 is see the enemy interior. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move this weapons guy into my camera room, or my sensor room. By him manning that, I should be able to see his weapon power, and then I can go into stealth right at the proper moment. So we'll start with that. Just pause here. So his weapon is down quite a bit. The beam weapons don't really miss that much, so we have to take out his weapons room and his shield room. We need both of our things to be charged in order to do that. So I'm going to watch these here, and then I will dodge this little electro weapon, or this system damaging weapon. So we'll let him shoot it, and that's going to be how you do most of your fights. As soon as they shoot, usually they're missile weapons or some of their hardcore lasers, you do your stealth right at that point. It will almost always dodge. I've seen a few things not dodge it. It would probably help if I actually turn up my evade here as well. It's kind of foolish. But now, that should be missing, and then my stuff will continue to charge. I can shoot my dual laser at his weapon, knock out his beam, and then hit my mini to follow it up. Now, the only downside is if we happen to miss him, it's going to be kind of bad news, because then he'll get his weapon off, and then that's how things usually go south with an Nesasio. That's why you get a shield, to prevent beam weapons like that. So let's first see what's going to happen here. Missed just like I expected. Both of my things are charged. As soon as I shoot until I get another augment, it's going to bring my shields, or my stealth down. So always be ready for that. So we're going to target his weapons first. And actually, what might be a safer route is to hit his shield instead. If both of these or one of these hits, I want the shield to go down, and I can hit the mini beam weapon after it. So the important thing is make sure you do not fight or shoot too soon. And also try to... It's obviously not as great as a big beam weapon, because it's hard as heck to get 4 rooms out of it. So it's looking like this is going to be... There we go, just like that. So if I hold it steady... I managed to get my attack off, but I didn't hit much in terms of the shield. One of them missed. So I'm watching now to see oxygen's good and evasion's good. His shield's going to come back up. Hopefully this hits and knocks this down. Otherwise, I'm going to be taking hull damage. And it looks like this was the highest priority one. So this is going to hit me, and there's really nothing I can do about that other than to soak it. And that is, like I said, how things can tend to go south with the Nesasio. So his shield is down. I got to pull off my beam weapon here. I'm going to try and let my lasers go onto his weapon so that I can not get hit by that again. And now there's my slave. So I only took 1 total damage, which is okay. But you got to be careful with that, and that's why I said as soon as you can get a shield, you can avoid things like that, because the beam weapons really don't miss. So if you get hit with a drone early on and it has a beam weapon, you are screwed. You need to get out of there ASAP. And I've already had a couple of Sector 1 and 2 losses just because you go up against a drone ship with a beam weapon and you just cannot dodge it. So always keep that in mind. So remember I said I was going to look to see what was at these nodes here, and being that I have a ship and a distress node, I'm going to leave that first one, and we'll just go ahead and go this route here. Okay, so distress call, research station, dock and try to rescue, or send in your crew. So there's kind of a, basically you have to determine what the RNG is going to be on this one, which it's probably not going to be good. We send in our crew members, somebody gets killed. We dock with the station, we take up to probably 5 hull damage. We leave, we don't get any scrap. So in this case here, crew members are probably the least of my concern right now. I'm okay if somebody dies because I basically just got a free one. So I'm going to send in a crew, and hopefully it sends Lana. But I got 29 scraps, so I'm happy with that. Nobody died, and I got a little bit of a reward out of it. Nebulas. I don't tend to like to do nebulas, period. I've said that many times before. That's especially true with the Nesasio because I just can't shield, and if my systems are going to be compromised, I just can't risk going in there. So I'll let that one be, and I will just take this next one instead. Okay, so he's going to have a electric weapon or ion weapon and another beam weapon. So we're going to use our cloaking and try to bypass. We got another weapon, which is good. Heavy laser Mark 1. That's actually a great one to have. Reason being is it only costs 1 to equip. So it only shoots 1, but it does more damage. And like I said, it only requires 1 to equip. So that's actually a good option for us. This is 25 and then 20, so only 45 to actually equip. You cannot get too much better than that. So now we have extra attack power to open up, so we can hit shields and weapons in most cases, and then that'll give us an incredible advantage. So the thing with the Nesasio now, because you have the sensors, it's up to you to determine if you want to hit these dead nodes. Now, when we're doing a normal ship, you wouldn't really know what's out here at these other ones. So just because there isn't anything there, like this one or the store or distress, doesn't mean that it can't be lucrative. So my suggestion would be to balance out how often you're going to hit these. Maybe do 1 out of every 2 or 3, maybe like every other, but maybe 1 out of every 3 would be a better usage of your fuel. You don't want to go wasting all of your fuel, but you also don't want to miss the opportunity for some scrap that you would have otherwise gotten from RNG events. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll pick this one just in case there's something else that could give me a little bit of scrap before the store. I could do this one before the store, but realistically I don't expect this to be able to afford anything really great at the store anyways. See, now we thought that this was a dead node, but there's still something out here. So we can offer to help, and they give us a little bit of fuel and some other stuff as well. So it added a quest marker, which is actually not a bad spot. So we can hit up this node, and then hit the quest, and then exit. So we got a couple of little things out of there. And it may not seem like much, but a little bit of fuel every now and then is pretty nice. So shields cost 125. It's always going to cost that. So keep that in mind as far as when you're trying to purchase the shields. But like I expected, I can't afford anything out here anyways. So I don't have a lot of scrap to start with. I don't really need to worry about fixing this just yet. I usually don't fix until I take about 5 or 6 hull damage. So there's really nothing here like I expected. We could sell some of our stuff, but I'm not going to sell either of these at this point. Usually I sell this one once I start getting options to buy some better stuff like the scrap recovery arm or possibly a weapon pre-igniter. Alright, so now we got back-to-back nodes here. I'm going to hit this bottom one first, and then this one since it's connected to 3 of them. Give me the best possible option to get out of here. So this is the typical ship where the Nesasio really excels when they start shooting missiles to start with. So he's charging up his thing. That's not really a concern of mine. I'm gonna let. Oh nope, that's what I didn't see. So this is a combat drone. So we kind of have to use our stealth early because this is going to be a problem for us. Now, what we want to do is our evasion high enough to dodge the first of these? Because we need just a little bit of time. We don't have enough stealth to let all of these charge up. So if we can avoid like one of these, as long as it doesn't hit one of our major systems, we're going to be okay. So first one hit us. And now we'll just we'll charge it. So I was hoping that it didn't, but that's kind of how it goes. So he's got a shield, which is going to be problematic. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pour all of my laser fire into here, because if any of these miss, we need to take out that we need to take out this drone here. The missile, we're going to be able to dodge that just fine. And then we'll fire beam weapon. Can't really hit anything, so we'll just hold this here. As soon as this attacks, now we're good. So everything we need to do is done, and that's it. So went about as well as we could have hoped. And then my beam is up, but I'm just going to take it out with lasers, so there we go. So as you can imagine with the Nesasio, the drones are the absolute worst. They are very, very, very serious things. Alright, so this one has possible ship, and it's got a sun nearby. I hate those because they start fires. I'll probably end up skipping that one. Even with the dodge, you can't dodge fires. Alright, so he's charging up. He's got a couple laser weapons. I'll be able to dodge both of those. That's not a problem. I said a lot of times you just wait for them to shoot and then dodge them, and then you take them out just like that. So we're going to take out dual lasers, and then we're going to do heavy laser shortly after, and then we will do mini beam across all three of these. Just like that. That's how we roll. So they'll be fixing, but I think they're screwed. There we go. Flawless victory. Not much in the way of scrap though, so that's a little bit disappointing there. I forgot to save these guys. Should probably do that. Alright, so do we want to do the sun? You know what? I'll do it just to humor you as viewers, so you can see why it may or may not be a good idea. But ultimately, the fleet's catching up. I need to make sure I hit up that quest node here. Okay, so first thing that I would suggest, anytime you're doing one of these spots here, open up all non-essential areas. So when these fires start coming, you don't want to be anywhere near them. So if your other more important systems are, safe, that's a big thing. If fire starts in weapons or in here, that's when things go a little bit south. So the real question is, should we move our guys around to handle this? Weapons are charging fast enough as it is, but we'll see where the actual fires start. And if it gets ugly to start with, we'll move some guys around and open up the rooms for those other systems. But he's got a missile weapon. He's got an ion weapon. Not really anything to worry about. We should be able to dodge easy enough. Just want to let him shoot both of these. Just like that. Missile dodged. Ion dodged. And so now we are going to take out shield, as we always had been doing. And then we'll do heavy laser on the weapon. And then we will do mini beam across. We'll go mini beam across here. And he's charging up, but he's dead. So that was pretty effective there. And I got out of there without any fires either. So things are looking good. Here it comes. Let's just see where it goes, just out of curiosity. So it fired up some of those rooms. Hit my stealth room though, and this one. So I took hull damage. That's the other, I guess, bad thing. Alright, so let's close our doors here. We obviously cannot have the health room or the stealth room be problematic. We need that up and running. We'll get these guys into the health room and we'll jump out of here then. Alright, so we have to use the rest of our jumps to get this quest, otherwise we're going to be missing out. Okay, so let's offer some assistance. We have advanced sensors, so all that did was get us nothing. Alright, so I'm going to send these guys back to where they were. It looks a little bit rough to start with, but they have a skeleton crew. That's not going to be a big issue. We can see their enemy interior, so we'll know when this beam's going to fire. Shouldn't be much of a problem. If anybody wants to board us, I think our Mantis can handle anybody that comes aboard, so I'm not concerned there. So let's see what they're going to do. So that guy's going to come on board. Let him do his worst. I'm not overly concerned about that. We'll send this guy over here just to attack. And then... oh, whoops. That was my own guy. My bad. All the humans look alike, right? Alright, so we did that to dodge his weapon. All of our stuff is going to be charged, just like that. And same general principle. We're going to dual shot the shields. And then... actually, because he's got a beam weapon, I'm going to do all of my lasers on the weapons instead. And then I'm even going to follow up my mini beam in there as well. The mini beam can only hit... there, I can hit 3 rooms that way, so... and he's dead. Easy pickings. And another really weak scrap payload. That's awful. I gotta heal Chris here. Took a little bit of damage when he was fighting. My scrap is not growing very quickly, so I'm probably going to save most of my scrap until I find another shop so I can buy the shields. That way when I come up against those beam weapons, it's never going to be an issue again until they get to really strong beams. Okay, I don't have the fuel to go down here and then back and then to the quest and to the exit, so unfortunately the quest is going to be the highest priority here. So they want 4 fuel. Now the guy that paid me only gave me 2 fuel. I'm supposed to give them 4 fuel. So they're likely to give me scrap for it. So as long as it's higher than the going rate, I should be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and give them the 4 fuel, and I just have to make a mental note that I do have to buy fuel the next store that I get to. So he gave me, well, let's see, 6 times 4 is 24. So he basically gave me a little over 6 per fuel, which is a pretty good rate. So I'm okay with that, as long as I can afford to buy more. So we are going to exit here, and so we can attack. Let's always fend for ourselves. We have a attack drone, or combat drone, if you will. Again, I'm going to try and let that, I'm going to take 1 shot from it and hope I dodge it. Put my evade up another 5%. And then after that, I'm going to be watching to make sure I can dodge. So he hit my door room. There we go, just like that. So I shot it, or did the stealth right after he shot it. So as long as they don't hit your main rooms, it's going to be okay. But like I said, you have to expect to take hull damage with the Nesasio. If you expect to dodge everything, you're likely playing it incorrect. Alright, so everything's charged and stealth is almost done. So we are going to pour everything into drone room, because I'll be able to hit the weapons with mini laser as well. And I'll be able to actually hit 4 rooms here, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm actually going to fire this one back to front. And that almost killed him, actually. He's dead, though. So dead. Let's hope for a good scrap payload. And we get, drumroll, 17. We got some fuel back, though, from what I gave those other guys, so we're actually sitting pretty good. Alright, so let's take a look at our map for the first time. We have a shitload of hostile. So it's looking to me like we're going to be just fighting it up here. Mantis controlled, Mantis controlled. I don't like either of those because of the heavy boarding. Now, they can't board when you're stealth, but once you de-stealth, it's not good. So we're going to go hostile, and then civilian. That happens on either one, but I don't want to go to nebulas, which I'd be stuck here, because even if I go up, I have to hit Nebula, so I'm going to be going the bottom route here. We'll go hostile, hostile, civilian. And then, doesn't really matter. We're going to be going civilian and hostile again. But that will be next week, so stick around and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, please show your continued support by hitting that like button, and be sure to check out both my YouTube channels for new content all the time. And always remember, peace is a lie, there's only passion. We'll see you next time.